kami. In fact, wala pa kaming pinagkasunduan. Ang sinabi ko lang sa kanya, I am willing to talk to you.
So yung LTFRB circular, it still stands. Hindi po babawiin ng DOTR muna kayo.
Pag-uusapan ba yun? Pwede namang baguhin din yan, no? Pero pag-usapan namin ng LTFRB and kami, we can give them guidelines, we can give them directions, no? Pero ang nagde-decide talaga is yung board. I will encourage them to make a decision.
Wala mo ng dialogue. Ang yayabang ninyo, sige, hintayin namin ito sa Lunes. Secretary Bautista, Chairman Guadis, hintayin natin sa Lunes. Mayayabang po itong mga to.
From the nation's capital, all sides, all the time. Ako po si Robbie Alampay.
Ako si Gretchen Ho, the big story tonight.
Several transport groups are set to go on a week-long strike over the government's modernization program.
The Transportation Department, meanwhile, makes a last-ditch effort to avert this massive strike. Gerard De La Peña with the details.
Tens of thousands of Jeepney and UV Express units are set to take part in the planned week-long transport strike starting March 6. Some drivers have already prepared for the strike.
Kasama kami. Kasi kung talagang haharangin ng bawat isa, wala na kaming magawa.
But some transport groups like Pasang Masda said that its members will not participate.
Hindi kaya ng isang super ang tigil pasada ng 1 week. Hindi ko sinisiraan ng manubela na yan. Pero based on my experience, hindi kami umabot ng 1 week.
But the remarks of other transport groups caught the ire of Manibela President Marval Buena. He said they will push through with the strike and that they will no longer heed the Transport Department's call for a dialogue.
Wala na mo ng dialogo. I will stand on my ground. Itutuloy na lang namin ito kung ganyan po na nagyayabangan na lang tayo.
Transportation Secretary Jaime Bautista said that he has spoken to Valbuena and invited him for a meeting. But Valbuena was firm in saying that there will no longer be talks between his group and the DOTR, which was scheduled on Tuesday afternoon. Bautista said that he will talk to the officials of the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board to tackle Manibela's concerns. Valbuena complained of inconsistent policies regarding the consolidation program. He said processing of applications were put to a halt in 2020. But the LTFRB changed the rules when the applications for the formation of cooperatives resumed in 2021. Valbuena said that operators should join existing cooperatives in particular routes instead of forming new ones.
Ano pa yung essence nun? So nag-form kami, gumastos kami dun sa kooperatiba, naghirap kami, isasama mo rin pala kami. And then, dahil ipit na kami ngayon, magme-membro ako sa iba, ano yung kapalit nito? Mas mataas na membership fee.
Valbuena said that 3 to 4 months won't be enough to join or form cooperatives. For the LTFRB's part, Bautista said they will discuss amongst themselves if the recent memo, which put a June 30 deadline for operators to join cooperatives, will be withdrawn. Bautista added that some modern PUVs and UV Express operators have committed to continue operations next week. Other agencies like the MMDA and the Philippine Coast Guard, meanwhile, will provide trucks and buses should there be stranded passengers. For News 5, Gerard De La Peña, We Are One News.
Let's discuss this further with Liga ng Transportasyon at Operators ng Pilipinas President Orlando Marquez is joining us live via Zoom. Good evening. Welcome to the Big Story po.
Good evening po at salamat po sa inyong pagtawag po sa akin. Maraming salamat po. Good evening po sa inyong mga nanonood at nakikinig.
Sir, ang una pong tanong siyempre ng mga nanonood, tuloy na tuloy po ba to? Wala nang atrasan?
Kami po sa LTAP po ay hindi po kami kasali po. Yun po yung napagkasunduan ng mga opisyalis ko from Luzon, Central Luzon, Northern Luzon at Mindanao ay hindi po kami kasali po yan.
Okay. So lilinawin ko lang po kasi kanina po ang naririnig natin sa balita ay mga opisyal ng Manibela. Yung sa hanay nyo po, ang sinasabi nyo po, kayo po hindi kayo sasama sa welga.
Hindi po dahil unang-una po ay wala ho kaming sa pag-uusap po nila, hindi po kami kasali. Kaya kami po ay hindi po kasali po sa darating na Lunes na sinasabi na big strike. Ay kami po sa LTAP, Piston, kagaya po ng ating PUDAP, Pasang Masda, Altodtap, Acto, at kasama rin po sila National Executive director po ng bus kanina, kausap ko rin po si Engineer Alex Yagi, ay wala rin gagalaw sa kanila po.
Okay. Pero gayon pa man pag-usapan po natin ang mga issue at mga hinaing ng mga iba't ibang grupo. Sang-ayon po ba kayo at kinikilala niyo po ba ang mga issue na binabanggit? Unang-una, yung oras na nakalaan para maghanay sa modernization program. Pagkatapos, pangalawa, itong issue sa kooperatiba na sinasabi nila na baliwala ang pag-organisa namin, pinilit kami dati, ngayon pinipilit kaming mag-organisa sa ibang kooperatiba na hindi naman yan na napag-usapan dati.
Alam niyo sir, sa totoo lang, ako po yung unang nag-modernize ng jeep sa Makati. 1996 pa po, inumpisahan ko na po ang PUG modernization. Wala pong sumali sa akin noon, pinagtatawanan lang po ako noon. Kaya yung modernization na yan ho, napakaganda sana po ngayon na kung talagang itinuloy yan. Kaso nga lang po, unang-una po ay wala po kasing inilalaan ng ating gobyerno na pondo, na sariling pondo para sa Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program. Kaya kami po ay talagang inggit na inggit sa 4Ps na in-implement dahil nga bagamat kami rin po yung mga membro namin din ang na binipisyuhan. Kaya lang ho ang malungkot dito bilang public service sa transportasyon at nasabi ko na kanina na ako po ay nag-modernize na ng jeep sa Makati ng aking nasasakupan. 1996 pa po, ako po yung naglabas ng air-condition jumbo jeepney na pangatlong design ko na po yun. Kaya sana ho, ay ako po, itong modernisasyon dahil binibilang ko po yung ilang unit na sinasabi na modernized jeep. Nakakalungkot po dahil nga nakalagay lang sa tagiliran ng sasakyan na minibus, modernized jeep, pero hindi naman jeep. Ang akin pong pinaglalaban noon pa po ay yung jeep sana i-modernize natin doon sa tinatawag na PNS compliance at yan po ay 18 years na po yung aking jeep na pinakahuli kong i-modernize. Pero hanggang ngayon ho, talagang modernization pa rin na modernization. Ang mahirap po kasi hindi natin ginagaya yung ginagawa sa ibang bansa na pag nag-modernize sila, may sarili silang pondo na inilalaan na ipinapasa na batas ng ating gobyerno. Kaya ang aming kahilingan, nag-submit na po kami ng kahilingan sa Mr. Alampay sa Kongreso, sa Senado. Matagal na po, matatapos na ng 2 term ng ating senador sa Senado. So hanggang ngayon ho, hindi pa kami kinakausap tungkol po doon sa aming ipinapanukala na yung buwis namin sana po sa aming ginagamit na krudo, langis, gasolina, baterya, gulong, spare parts, sasakyan. Kung sana ho ay bigyan ng budget po ito, matagal na po na maganda at na i-deliver sana natin ang magandang serbisyo sa ating mananakay dahil po ang aking pagkilala sa mga mananakay, ito po yung trabahador na nagtsatsaga na sumasakay sa ating jeep para ho makapangkumita lang. Na sana ho alalahanin din ng ating mga kababayan ng ating jeep sa buong Pilipinas, ito lang po ang kaya natin may pagmalaki sa buong mundo na sasakyan na kasama na nag-unlad ang bansang Pilipinas ay kasama na ang jeep. Pagkatapos ngayon po ipipis out, hindi naman po ipinipis out, kundi minomodernize, kaya lang po, iba po yung mukha na lumalabas sa modernisasyon.
Okay, sir, ano po sa tingin niyo makapagkumbinsi sa ating mga kababayan na sumali sila sa kooperatiba? Ano po sa nakikita ninyo yung problema nila doon at paano masusolusyonan? Kasi malapit na po yung deadline, June 30 na nga po. At sinasabi nga po nila napakamahal at may additional membership fees pa.
Alam nyo, yan ho yung talagang problema po dahil po yung mga unang nakapag-kooperatiba at binabago naman po ng DOTR ngayon yung sistema dahil nga ito naman pong mga naunang nagpa-kooperatiba, sila po ay naniningil ng napakamahal na membership na dapat sundin nila po yung nakalaan sa batas. Kaya kami po ay sumasampalataya rin kami sa karapatan ng ating kaibigan, ng ating kakilala na si Mr. Balbuena. Kaya lang ho, hindi po kami naabisuhan at wala ho kami pag-uusap. Kaya kami po ay talagang desisyon, hindi po kami kasali. Diyan sa darating po na strike na sinasabi na 1 linggo, ay hindi naman po kami nakikiusap na yung isang linggo ay siguro first time in history, baka sakali magawa po nila, pero kami po ay bibiyahe kami dahil po kailangan namin ay umuusbong pa lang po ang aming hanap buhay sa transportasyon. Pero kung ganito po na parusahan namin ang ating mga pasahero, wala naman pong kasalanan ng ating pasahero po eh. Diyan po kami kumikita. Bakit sila yung pagdudusahin natin? Yan lang po yung katanungan ko.
Okay. Mr. Orlando Marquez ng Liga ng Transportasyon at Operators ng Pilipinas. Sir, maraming salamat po.
Meanwhile, an oil tanker carrying around 800,000 liters of industrial fuel sank off the coast of Nohan Oriental, Mindoro earlier today. The oil tanker MT Princess Empress departed from Bataan en route to Iloilo with its 20 crew members, but it encountered rough sea conditions and engine overheating, causing the tanker to half submerge at 2 a.m. A passing foreign vessel chanced upon the distressed MT Princess Empress, rescuing the 20 crew members who have now been dropped off at the Subic Bay port. The Philippine Coast Guard has deployed the BRP Melchora Aquino, as well as an Airbus helicopter to assess if there was an oil spill. Now, after the break, leaders of the Moro Islamic Liberation Front have called for the dissolution of private armies controlled by politicians in the Muslim-majority region. We'll discuss this further with MILF Chairman and BARM Interim Chief Minister Ahod Balawag Ibrahim. When the big story returns, keep it here on One News. You're watching The Big Story here on One News.
The Moro Islamic Liberation Front, or MILF, wants private armies of politicians in the Bangsamoro region to be dissolved. Here's what we know. The MILF made the call in response to appeals from local officials to fast-track the full decommissioning of its armed wing. MILF Chairman and BARM Interim Chief Minister Ahod Murad Ibrahim said the group has no problem decommissioning its fighters, but it's the private armies that are causing tension in the region. The decommissioning process of MILF fighters is now on its third phase. Since 2015, more than half of the 40,000 MILF troops have decommissioned their fighters. 2,175 out of 7,500 have decommissioned weapons. Meanwhile, prior to the national election last year, the Philippine National Police said that a majority of private armed groups in Mindanao have been dismantled. The National Police has since raised concern over private armies being used to carry out politically motivated assassinations. Despite this effort, it seems the violence has yet to stop Just this month alone, 3 separate instances of armed attacks against local politicians were reported. Among those targeted were Lanao del Sur Mamintal Adjong Jr. and Maguindanao del Sur Town Mayor Otto Montawan. Following the series of ambushes, House Speaker Martin Romualdez has called for an emergency meeting with the PNP and the DILG. To talk about this call to disband private armies, we have on the show MILF Chairman and BARM Interim Chief Minister Ahod Murad Ibrahim is joining us over the line. Good evening po. Welcome to The Big Story.
Thank you very much and good evening sa inyong lahat.
Sir, let's start with the side of the private armies and the PNP in particular saying that last year most private armies dismantled na raw po. Is this accurate?
Well, actually, bigyan ko lang ng background. We have a peace agreement with the government of the Philippines, yung MILF. Now, itong peace agreement had two factors. One is a normalization track at saka yung political track. The political track is basically the establishment of a government for the Bangsamoro people na itong tinatawag natin na Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. So, pangalawa po dito ay yung track ng normalization. Now, the normalization track include the decommissioning of our combatants para makabalik sila sa normal life. And pangalawa is disarmament ng mga political, mga private armies. Kasi nakikita natin na itong nangyayari, hindi lamang ngayon nangyayari. Matagal nang nangyayari itong mga patayan, mga nangyayari na some are politically motivated. So yun ang plan. So that is the two tracks of the peace process. One is the establishment of the government, which is now almost completed. And then we have the normalization track, which include the decommissioning and then disarmament of the private armies. So sa decommissioning po, we have already decommissioned about 60% of our combatants. Mayroon lang remaining na mga 40% still to be decommissioned.
Tapa.
So sa disbandment of private army, hindi pa ito nasisimulan, hindi pa nagawa. So kaya tingin namin kailangan na i-fast track ang decommissioning and at the same time also simulan na yung disarmament ng private armies. Dahil alam natin na maraming loose firearm, maraming humahawak ng armas na hindi naman dapat humahawak ng armas.
Papa.
So,
Sir, if you don't mind, Chief Minister, yun lang po yung unang gusto nating linawin because you said ang panawagan nyo ay umpisahan na ang dismantling. But the PNP is saying na nangangalahati na since last year.
Well, we are not kasi it has to be a partnership. Ang pinanawagan namin ngayon is a partnership between the MILF and the government of the Philippines kasi part of the peace agreement. So if there is a disarmament that has been done, it has to be a merong partnership with the MILF as part of the agreement, peace agreement.
So yung mga decommissioning po na nangyari na sinasabi po ng PNP, hindi po kayo na kausap tungkol doon, tama po ba?
Nagtutulungan kami dito sa decommissioning. In fact we have submitted the list of our combatants, which is around 40,000, ito napagkasunduan during the term of the late President Noynoy Aquino, yung pagpirma ng PAN. So this has been started already at more than half na nga, mga 50% na ang na-decommission namin sa pwersa namin.
Ay, sir, malapit na po mag-barangay election. Sa October na po. Kamusta naman po yung interim government at yung mga preparasyon po security-wise?
Well, on our side, meron as far as concerned, meron napagkasunduan na yung tinatawag na Joint Peace and Security Team. Itong Joint Peace and Security Team is a deployment of yung pwersa namin na hindi pa na-decommission together with the PNP at the AFP. So we have already started some deployment in some areas. Joint po ito, tinatawag na DPST, Joint Peace and Security Team. So meron na area na already deployed with this. Then pangalawa po is pwersa namin, we are already integrating it into yung pwersa namin ay kasama ito sa nag-apply na makapasok sa PNP at sa Armed Forces of the Philippines. In fact, the last examination conducted for the internship of PNP, meron pumasa sa amin na more than 7,000. So, gradually integrated in the Armed Forces of the Philippines at the regular method, pero kailangan nilang mag-undergo ng training sa AFP at sa PNP.
Okay, maraming salamat po, MILF Chairman and BARM Chief Minister Ahod Murad Ibrahim.
Senator Robin Padilla continues to push for amending the economic provisions of the Constitution, but disagrees with the costly proposal of the lower house. However, other senators believe this is not the right time for Chacha. Mayan Los Baños with the report.
Senator Robin Hood Padilla insists on focusing on economic provisions such as entry of foreign investors in amending the Constitution. Padilla says the most efficient way for this is for the Congress to convene itself as a constituent assembly, allowing it to directly propose amendments to the Constitution come election time. However, the lower house is pushing for a conduct of a constitutional convention, where an election by the people will first be conducted to determine the delegates of such convention. Padilla points out that the costs necessary for the election and per diems of the CONCON delegates will hurt the national budget.
Constitutional Assembly po, kami pa rin po, kasi mas mura po yun at mas madali pong gawin. Kung tungkol lang naman po kasi sa economic provision ng Constitution, kami na lang, wag na natin masyadong pahirapin pa. Ang gusto lang naman natin, pumasok dito yung mga foreign investor. Naglabas yung NEDA, election pa lang, 28 billion na, wala pa yung gastos ng pasweldo sa mga CONCON delegates, opisina nila. Siyempre, meron din yan, malaki yan.
The House also did not set limits on the provisions that they would be amending once discussions on Chacha starts. This means even political provisions, including term extension for elected officials of the government, can possibly be inserted.
Pinag-usapan natin ng political structure ng bansa. Mga mahal kong kababayan, litawan na dyan ang kanya-kanyang interest sa politika. Ang haba po niyan. Economic provision lang tayo talaga muna. Sa akin, doon lang muna tayo sa pinakamatipid.
Padilla does not discount the possibility of a deadlock in case the House and Senate would not agree on what provisions in the Constitution to revise. The senator is convinced that there is higher chance his colleagues in the Senate will approve of CHACHA if it will focus first on economic provisions. But this early, several lawmakers in the upper house have already closed their doors to CHACHA. Senator Rizzo Ontiveros believes charter change is not what the country needs at this moment, especially as Filipinos are suffering from other problems like high inflation. Ontiveros says lawmakers should do away with the tale of make-believe that CHACHA will solve the nation's challenges. Senator Nancy Binay meanwhile reminds Congress that President Marcos himself already said that CHACHA is not a priority under his administration. Binay said what should be prioritized right now are solutions to problems, not CONCON, not CHACHA. Senator Sonny Angara meanwhile keeps an open mind on CHACHA, but he commented that CONCON is a very pricey way of revising the Constitution, including the 10,000 peso per diem or daily allowance for delegates. This Thursday, the Senate will start its public consultations regarding charter change. There will be a hearing in Davao, next in Luzon and Visayas. Reporting for News 5, Mean Los Baños, we are One News.
Right after the break, Maynilad customers in Makati, Manila, Parañaque, and Pasay may experience water interruptions starting Sunday. More on that when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching the big story here on One News.
580,000 Maynilad customers will experience water interruption from March 5 to 7. This to give way for repairs after Maynilad discovered leaks along its main pipeline in Osmeña Highway, corner Zobel Rojas in Makati. Through these repairs, Maynilad hopes to save an estimated 20 to 30 million liters of water lost per day. Maynilad expects the repairs to be finished in less than 3 days. Expected interruptions will take as long as 20 hours in Manila, up to 54 hours in Makati and Pasay, and up to 57 hours in Parañaque. To assist customers, Maynilad will install 7 stationary water tanks and deploy 30 mobile water tankers in affected areas.
Yun po talaga yung main source ng area na yon. So wala pong ibang redundancy na pwedeng pagkuhanan ng mga would be affected. So talagang kailangang magawa yung interruption na yun sa mga affected customers.
After a bumpy stretch last year, Gilas Pilipinas closed out the FIBA World Cup Asian qualifiers in strong fashion, winning 4 straight games before dropping a nail-biting of a loss to Jordan, 91-90. The national team even had several chances to complete a come-from-behind victory, but couldn't close it out. The biggest chance was when Scotty Thompson missed 2 free throws late in the game that could have given Gilas the lead. Now, after the match, Thompson owned up to the botched freebies and called them the biggest missed free throws of his career. Coach Shot Reyes immediately consoled the Gilas guard after the loss, saying that Thompson will be a much better player from that experience. Now, up next for Gilas Pilipinas will be their preparations for the 32nd Southeast Asian Games, which will be held in May.
Well, like I told Scotty not to get down on himself, he wouldn't have gotten to the free throw if he didn't rebound it anyway. Siya rin naman ang kumuha ng rebound na yun, di ba? So, those things happen. And Scotty is going to be a much better player from that. When it matters, I don't think Scotty will miss again.
Meanwhile, the past year has been a time for growth and self-reflection for actress Liza Soberano. The former teen star is embracing a new chapter in her life as an artist and as a brand ambassador. Liza had just been introduced as the new Chief Advocacy Officer of fintech firm Maya. The former Kapamilya actress is busy pursuing a career in the U.S. after signing with James Reid's record label and management agency Careless Music. And I think she wants to be called Hope now.
Hope na. Hope Soberano.
No, I was watching her video, sabi ko nga, it seems like she wanted to break free from Liza. But di naman siguro nagkamali na siya ng konti dun sa words niya, kaya din medyo controversial yung video na yun.
Yeah, well, that only shows that a lot of people are interested in her career. At the same time, a lot of people are also pulling for her. But at the same time, it is a business. She's made her decision, so a lot of people are wishing her well as well.
I'm excited because she said she'll be writing and be collaborating more closely with all the campaigns and the shows in the future.
Well, with freedom comes opportunities for growth.
And responsibility.
And that's the big story tonight. For more updates, follow News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. You may also log on to onenews.ph for more analysis. I'm Robbie Alampay.
The big story is also available via Signal Play app. Make a free account now at signalplay.com and stream One News anytime, anywhere. I'm Gretchen Ho. Stay safe, Philippines.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.